we're back. All right. So continuing where we left off, I took a little short brain break. Hopefully you guys are still with me. If you guys need to go take a break as well, just pause the video. You have free will. And go chill out for a couple minutes. Come back, review your notes, make sure you're understanding the concepts. The biggest thing I would say that you should be doing is like hearing what I'm saying, close your eyes and mentally picture it. Because if you can do that, you can then apply that picture to what that specific thing is. Hopefully it didn't sound too complicated. All right, let's get started on the next character in the video game of trading, because that is the game we're playing. So the next character that we have to have an understanding of is the character that goes by the name of retail. You've probably heard this term before. And who is the retail trader? We'll break it down what it actually is, and then we'll break it down in video game terms. So the retail trader, let's be nice about this. The retail trader, their role in the video game is to provide liquidity. And we haven't been over, oh my God, I keep spelling liquidity wrong. And we haven't been over what liquidity is and all of that. You know what? We'll do it. We'll do it in the next exam. But we'll deep dive into what liquidity is once we start learning how to trade. But for right now, just understand what these things are. So the retail trader's role is to provide liquidity in the market, because the game of trading cannot work without liquidity. Who is the retail trader? To break it down to you, you are the retail trader. The retail traders are the basic NPC, and other players. So the retail traders are NPCs and other players. Their role is to provide liquidity to help the market move. Their role is to provide liquidity. Their common behaviors in the game of trading, are chasing breakouts, emotional, oh my God, I actually cannot spell. low IQ question mark. Emotional entries, and no journaling. This is all of their common behaviors. Just like you have a common behavior over here on your character, like you have a fatal flaw, stamina bar, and HP, there is a collective of NPC and other. So let me break it down in video game terms. If you're online on a video game, right? Let's say on RuneScape or Wizard 101, there's your character, right? There's you on the screen. But what do you call everybody else around you in the game? Well, in trading, everybody else around you is called a retail trader. They're NPCs and they're other players in the game. It's literally no different in trading. Just like in a video game, just know the NPCs and other players around you are known as retail traders. You yourself are a retail trader, because think about it. If to you, everybody else is an NPC and a random other player, well, think about it. To your best friend who's also playing the game online, you're a NPC / other player. You're also a retail trader. You must understand that. But for the sake of not confusing you, just understand and separate these two things in your head. You and retail traders are two different people. Understand you're the same thing, but for the sake of the example, just think of you as two different people. Retail traders are NPCs and other players. Their role is to provide liquidity to help the market move. Their common behaviors are chasing breakouts, emotional entries, and no journaling. So let's break this down in video game terms. And my cat jumped on my desk. So let's break this down in video game terms. What is chasing a breakout? And this won't really click until we start learning how to trade. But chasing a breakout is being scared to miss out on XP. That's what chasing a breakout is. Chasing a breakout is being scared to miss out on XP after a in-game event just dropped. That's literally what it is. Emotional entries, these go hand in hand. The chasing breakout and emotional entries is just over trading. Ooh, do you see that anywhere else on the screen? Right here, fatal flaw. Emotional entries are over trading. The common behavior of a retail trader is overtrading, which is an emotional entry, which if you look on your own character, that is your fatal flaw that kills your character. Well, guess what? The retail trader's biggest problem is overtrading, emotional entries. Emotional entries can consist of other things, but just understand in general, it is just overtrading. Another common behavior is no journaling. So they don't document their quest. They don't document their quest and battle progress. So we'll learn how to journal properly later, but just understand that the common behaviors of a retail trader is they're scared to miss out on XP, they're overtrading, and they don't document their battle progress. And if you haven't noticed that these are all bad things and none of these are good things. We're not writing down good things because we want to avoid being this person. We don't want to be the retail trader. We want to trade with this person down here, the boss battles, right? Because they'll wipe everybody else in the boss room out. The retail trader can't wipe the boss battle out. You cannot beat the boss. You cannot. This is a game where you can't beat the boss battle. It's impossible. He has infinite health bar, and it's like then your mind should go to, well, why the fuck would I even play the game? Because you're not here to beat the boss battle, bro. You're just here to survive the boss battle and to pick up XP to then document how that battle went. So how you acquired that XP, so how that overall battle went. And then you're leaving the boss room. That is literally your job. Hopefully that makes sense in video game terms. You're not here to beat the boss battle. This isn't a regular game. You're not here to beat the boss battle. Right? So we don't want to be this guy. We don't want to be the retail trader. We want to be on the side of the boss battle. We must understand that the boss is not our friend. However, we could take advantage of his arrogance or his negligence. I don't know what you want to call it. So let's break this down now. So we understand who the retail trader is now. The boss battle seeks to hurt the NPC and other players, obviously, right? They are enemies. They're enemies. So, game logic wise, the NPC behavior is predictable. Let me ask you something. Oh my God, I cannot spell predictable. The NPC behavior is predictable. So let me ask you something. If you knew that the lottery numbers were 1, 2, 3, 4 every single time, and every time you would get those numbers correct, would you go play the lottery? Probably yes, because the numbers are predictable every single time. Well, I want you to take that logic and apply that to the retail trader. The retail trader is very predictable to the boss battle. The boss battle sees that the numbers on the lottery ticket are 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter what, it's always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 to the boss battle. He sees that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going and he's cashing out that fucking lottery ticket every single time. Because the retail trader, the NPCs are predictable. NPC behavior is predictable. In a video game, if you walk up to an NPC, after a certain amount of times of you talking to him, he's going to start to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And no matter how much you talk to him, he's going to continue to repeat that same thing over and over and over again. So yeah, that's the NPC. So where there is, you must understand, where there is predictability, I'm really putting myself to the test here. That's kind of sad. Where there's predictability, right? That equals out to opportunity. Where there's predictability, that is going to equal opportunity. I just went over how that's true. One more time. If the lottery numbers were 1, 2, 3, 4 every single time, and you knew it before anybody else, and on that lottery ticket, every time you cash it out, it's 10K. Would you go cash that ticket in if you knew the lottery numbers were 1, 2, 3, 4 every single time? Yes, you know you would. You would go cash that shit out every single time. Well, you must understand that NPC ass behavior, those 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, the boss battle that's how the boss battle sees the retail trader. It sees the retail trader as that predictable lottery number, those predictable lottery numbers. So where there's predictability, there's opportunity for that boss battle, right? But you must understand that goes hand in hand. You don't want to be this person. So you want this logic to apply to you as well. Where there is predictability, there's opportunity. So that is literally trading right there, bro. We'll dive into this more. But if you can find something predictable, something that repeats every single, think about it. Think about it. If you've seen something repeat every single day, right? It repeated every single day. Let's say it showed up at different times, but it doesn't matter. It repeated every single day. Wouldn't you take your chances on making money on that? Right? Think about it. Really process that for a second. So you want to find something that's predictable, because where there's predictability, there's opportunity. Think about it, bro. Right? But we'll dive into that. We'll dive into that more later. That is the psychology video that I want to go over. But yes, this is the retail trader. This is another player in the game. We could dive into literally all of this stuff. Like, we could deep dive into all of this stuff. But for the sake of the video, so we don't make this a 2-hour long video, and so we don't confuse anybody, we're going to keep it simple. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 players so far. Let's go over the next player. The next component to the video game. Probably the most easy to understand component, actually. Number 5. Burger King foot lettuce. Anyway, sorry. I'm tripping. But number 5. The 5th player in the video game is going to be something known as pairs / instruments. Cue tuba sound. No, not that kind of instrument. So, pairs / instruments in the game of trading, simply put, equal out to maps. We're not going to talk about this for 2 hours. You need to understand, I will literally show you on a chart here in a second. You need to understand that when you're trading something like gold or silver, or say you want to trade Apple, it's all the same shit. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to trade, you need to understand that in video game terms, it is just the map you are playing on. I want you to mentally close your eyes and mentally picture this, right? You're on the title screen. You just clicked play online, whatever game it is. Picture the game in your head. You just clicked play online, right? You go to quick match. It queues you up for a quick match, right? And then before you get into a quick match, it has the option to pick 5 different maps, and everybody has to vote. That is what pairs / instruments are. It is just you picking what map you want to play on. And you need to understand, just like in a video game, every map is different. Every map has different characteristics. Every map has different characteristics. Every map moves differently. Every map has advantages and disadvantages. Just like in a video game, your pair or instrument you pick is no different. It is the map you are playing on. And you will have a huge advantage if you take the time to learn the map you play on. Pick one map and learn that map until you know it like the back of your hand. Because where there is predictability, there is opportunity. If you know the map like the back of your hand, it will eventually become very predictable, and then you can create opportunity for yourself, aka money. In video game terms, aka XP. You can get more XP. So, the pair / instrument is just the map you're playing on. What are pairs? So I guess you say I would just put what is it? It is, simply put, what it is you are trading. You have complete control over it. You can pick it. You don't have control over what it does, but you can obviously choose what it is you want to trade. So we'll put each map has a different pace. Each map has a different pace. They all play differently. Each map has different, we'll put speed. The word I'm looking for here is volatility, though. Each map has a different volatility. Broken down in video game terms, some maps are going to play quicker than others. For those of you who grew up on Call of Duty, when you're playing Nuketown, right? All of you are fucking familiar with it. If you're playing Nuketown, you probably know, if you have a fucking sniper at this point, it's been a lot of years, you probably know exactly where to spawn trap a person in a 1v1 with a fucking sniper on Nuketown, right? But if you go to like Shipment, it's a bigger map, right? So it's not going to be as predictable as Nuketown is, because the volatility is different. The speed of the map, the speed of the map is different. The layout is different. It has different characteristics, right? So that's all that means, basically. And it has different rules. Okay. If I were to give you some examples, we haven't dove into any of these yet, but if I were to give you some examples, like for NQ, for example, which is the NASDAQ, we'll go over all this later, which is the NASDAQ, it's fast, but it has high damage. It has a high damage hit. So you can get a lot of XP. So the map is very fast, which is a good or a bad thing. This all comes back to you as a player, your trading style. We haven't gone over that yet. It's very fast, and it's a high damage hitting map. ES, which is the S&P 500. It's very balanced, right? It's very balanced. It's a very balanced market. There's a lot of opportunity in balance, right? But there's, in a balanced market, it's more predictable, so there's more opportunity, correct? But you have to understand the pace is slower. Gold, for example, has a lot of fake outs, and it really tests your patience. Gold really tests your patience. So it's like, well, then I'll just choose ES because it's balanced. Sure, starting out, right? Sure, starting out, that's probably a good thing. But let me break. Oh my God, that's bothering me. Let me break down the logic behind that real quick. Okay, either I'm really dumb or this thing is like spell corrected me for no reason. Oh, I'm stupid because I wrote patience. Gold has a lot of fake. Yo, uncle moment. Gold has a lot of fake outs, and it really tests your patience. So you might be thinking, well, I'll just pick this because it seems easier. Sure, yes, pick that. But you need to understand two things. One, this might not work for you just because it's slower. If you're a new trader, you don't know what kind of trading works for you yet, right? And you're not really going to learn that until you hop in and start fucking doing it. But that's exactly what I mean, though. You might hop on this, and it feels like it works, but the whole time, NQ is actually what really works for you. You feel me? So you really have to play around. You really have to get in there and put the fucking work in. You have to start leveling your character up. But for right now, starting off as a new player, just pick one map. Learn that one map. No matter what, just learn that one map. Just learn it. Because then when you get ready to switch and you start learning a new map, well, now you can compare the two maps. And you could be like, okay, well, I understand ES like the back of my hand, but NQ works a little bit better for me. And you need to also understand that every map goes through different parts of its lives. Like it goes through, every map goes through different map updates. And NQ might be fast and high damage during quarter 1, but then during quarter 2, instead of being fast and high damage, now it's balanced and ES is fast and high damage. You have to understand that these things switch up. Does that make sense? Well, how do I know what's fast and high damage? You'll get to that. Slow down, bud. We'll learn that. We'll learn that later. All right. So that is another thing that you need to understand about the video game. We'll tie all this together at the end, but let's keep going so we don't have a 2-hour video. So the next player that we have to learn about, I'm going to change the color of the text. We've been using white a lot. What's easy on the eyes? Yeah, why not? All right. The next player we have to learn about, and it's a player. Okay, the next thing we have to learn about, the next player in the game, the next component of the game, the next player in the game that we have to learn about are markets. Now, what is a market? Simply put, in game terms, it is the game mode that you are deciding to play. Are you playing team deathmatch? Are you playing free-for-all, gun game? Like, what is it you're playing, right? Because before you can pick a instrument or a pair, you must first pick a game mode, okay? And in simple words, what is it that you're going to be trading? Well, what can I trade? What is there to trade? Okay, well, let me show you what there is to trade. There's a lot of things to trade, but you can trade. I'll give you the big ones are Forex. I'll explain what these are in a second. Hold on. You can trade Forex, futures, stocks, or crypto. I think it's how you spell crypto. Crypto. These are all the things that you can trade. There are other things you can trade, but for the sake of this video and simplicity and video game terms, these are the only things you can trade. What is Forex? Without all the nerd shit, Forex is just the exchange between the money of two different countries. So if the US wanted to give its United States dollars to Japanese and they decided that they wanted to switch, Japan is just going to give their Japanese yen to the US and the US is just going to give their United States dollar to Japan. Right? And then there are other questions you can ask, like, well, what's the point of doing that? But for the simplicity of this video, we're not going to deep dive into that, okay? I'm just teaching you what these things are so that you can use them. Just like with the maps, it is the same thing with the game modes. You want to understand what game mode it is you're playing like the back of your hand. You need to get so egotistical about the game mode that you have selected that nobody can tell you that you don't understand it. Don't be so egotistical that you won't try a different game mode, but just be so egotistical that nobody else can tell you that you don't know it. That's how good you need to get at whatever game mode it is you decide to play. Okay, does that make sense? So Forex is just the switching between two different currencies. Well, why would I want to do that? Dude. Okay, you know what? In video game terms, Forex is just the exchange between weapons. It's you trading. It's trading. Oh, yeah, that's funny. It's literally trading. You're trading weapons, trading pairs, you're trading maps. You're trading maps with people. Okay, which right? You're just trading. Okay. We'll just write it's the world trading system. If you walk up to another player, it's going to pop up at the bottom right corner. It's going to say, would you like to trade with this player? That's what Forex is. You're just trading. Oh, I have a better one. You're just trading in-game currency for another item. Okay, boom. So trading Forex is just it's an exchange between weapons. It's the exchangement of in-game currency for another item. You might be able to word that a little bit better in your notes, but just understand that's what it is, okay? What is futures in video game terms? Futures is like... it's gambling. No, stop. Futures is basically... So futures in video games terms is say that the game was dropping... Say they put out a newsletter last week that they're going to be dropping 3 new weapon skins, right? And nobody knows what the weapons are. And in this game, you can bet on whether people will like the weapon a lot, or whether they won't like the weapon a lot. And if you vote that people will like the weapon a lot, the weapon drops, and it turns out that people did like the weapon a lot, then the game will reward you with in-game currency for being correct. That's what futures is. So one more time for my people in the back. It is just you anticipating on if people will be happy or unhappy if you were correct, you will be rewarded. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So futures is you anticipating on if people will be happy or unhappy at a certain point in the future. If you were correct, you will be rewarded. So in video game terms, that's what it is. In trading terms, what it is that if I buy a contract at $5,000 and I'm predicting it goes up to $6,000 at 3 p.m. Well, if price gets up there to $3 at 6 p.m., then I get rewarded because I was correct. That's essentially what it is. It sounds, dude, it sounds like gambling. It really does, right? It sounds like gambling, but when you see all the other components of trading and have an understanding of it, you quickly realize that it is gambling, but there's something that you can actually do about it. If I were to give my own opinion, like when it comes to gambling, there's not much you can do in gambling, like, right? You can't control what somebody else is holding at the roulette table or what another, like, you can't control that, right? Or you can't control, I said roulette, my bad, I meant blackjack. You can't control what somebody else is holding at the poker table. You can't control where the ball lands in roulette. Like, you can't control those things. That is truly gambling. As we're in trading, it's backed by things like data. Like certain data affects prices. So let me give you an even better example, because we're going to go over this in a minute. Say that some news dropped and it said that the economy is going to probably tank next week. It's going to go down. The whole economy is going to be destroyed. Well, since you're hearing that news a week before, right? Couldn't you make a educated guess that it might actually go down? Like, say it came from like a really big trusted news source, right? Because I'm not saying go around believing every single news you hear, but say it came from like a really big trusted news source, right? And it was like, yeah, the economy is probably going to tank next week. Wouldn't you be willing to risk like $200 on a sell that the economy is probably going to tank next week? And then say the next week comes and the economy actually ends up tanking. Well, now you're profiting because you betted against the market using data. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. That's basically what futures is. You use data, and you're using data, and no, that's literally all it is. You're using data to make an educated guess. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I think a little part of me, my ego is coming out. Like I just told you, get so egotistical about it. A little part of my ego is coming out because I trade futures, and like I don't want to like, oh, it's gambling. The amount of shit I've heard from people saying that is actually so dumb. Out of all the things on this list, Forex, futures, stocks, and crypto, in my opinion, futures and crypto are probably the best two fucking things on this list. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Stocks. What are stocks? Holly, you probably know what stocks are. It's just an investment in a company. So basically what you're doing is you're just buying a piece of that company, like a very, very small piece. You're just buying a piece of that company, and now you're technically an owner of that company. That's what stocks is. I could break that down in video game terms, but I don't even think that needs to be broken down in video game terms. It's literally as simple as that. You're just buying you're buying a piece of a company, and since you now own that company, you want that company to only go up, right? So that you can profit money. You can also bet against that company to go down, but for simplicity, when you buy into a stock, you more than likely want it to go up so that you can profit because you own a piece of that company. So you're buying at a specific price point in hopes that it will go up. Crypto. I'm not too big into crypto. I don't even know if I could give you an in-game example of this. I've traded crypto before. It's very profitable, but for the sake of, I don't want you guys to get fucked, I'm actually going to take it off of this list. I'm going to be honest. So your choices are Forex, futures, and stocks. For the sake of this video and for the sake of following along, if you're new, you're going to start here. You're going to start on futures. Okay? For simplicity, for those of you who came from Forex, you do you, bro. But if you want simplicity, you want to keep things simple, you don't want to do a bunch of crazy math, you want easy 1 + 1 = 2 math, you're going to go with futures. That is what you're going to do, okay? So bam, we understand what the markets are. They are just us choosing a game mode. Choose your game mode. And then choosing a pair/instrument is choosing a map. And we'll tie all this together at the end because these two tie in together. But hold on. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll come back and we'll finish off with the last two players of the game, and then we'll tie everything together. And yeah.